Now the other piece is a little more complicated because it's got a bend in it, and another one here, another one there, 4 bends. And remember, this whole thing is 1 inch thick and 8 inches long. It probably weighs 150 pounds, so it's kind of hard to manipulate. So we've decided to deal with a company called Novel Iron Works, which is down in Greenland, New Hampshire, just south of Portsmouth. And they have it down there right now, and they're going to bend it. We will put all the holes in it except for that one in the center, which they'll do for us. That's where the kingpin comes down through. And then it will come back, and I'm not sure whether we're going to send it to AC Electric or grind it ourselves. But anyway, it'll get primed and painted black, and then we'll put the 2 of them together with the flat, straight one across and the bottom one bent, so we can have the spacer and make it into the truss. And then we'll bolt on all of the castings and so forth, and then we'll jack it up underneath the car here so that when we start taking it apart, we've got something to keep it more or less in line. There's a little interesting thing what you see right here. Why would you want all these wires fastened to this? Well, this is an electric trolley, and the electricity in a trolley car comes from the wire overhead, goes through the motors and the lights and the air compressor motors and whatever else you have, and finally has to get back to the power station. Electricity has to go round and round what they call a circuit. And in order to go back with trolleys, they use the rail as the other wire, so to speak. Copper wire overhead, track on the bottom, form the circuit. Well, in the middle of the circuit is the trolley. And all of the circuits have to go to what they call ground. And the ground, in this case, is where they bolted right on the, they all came from different places. This is probably from the motors. In fact, they were all from the motors. And then it will go down through the center bearing and down through the wheels and back through the rail. So I think that's about all there, unless you have any questions.
All right.
What we're looking at is the right-hand side of the cab. Remember that if you're standing looking at the number 1 end, this would be the right-hand side. The wainscot on the outside was removed because it was loose. It had paint on all surfaces that we had to get at, and so we decided it would be better to take all the boards off and then put them back properly. There were umpty-dump nails in here, many of which had rusted off, and it was really not very solid. You could push on it and the whole thing moved. Now underneath that wainscoting was this framework, and I was hesitating because I was trying to see what kind of wood that is. I think this is either southern pine or fir, probably southern yellow pine. The vertical pieces are ash. This is what we call a pier post, and when Phil comes closer he can show the rod in the middle there. Kind of a nice assembly. It's quite rigid. We have only really one defect in it, and this was cracked right here. I think we're going to be able to glue this piece back together again. Of course, we have the rot that occurred here and the windowsill at this area we're going to replace.